Charlie Hayward. It's lovely to see you.
Great to see you again.
Here at Saratoga. It is quite warm.
Very warm.
So you decided not to call off this opening day. There were some people who speculated that you should, that you would. Ultimately, why did you decide not to?
We've canceled one time in 140 years we've been running races here due to the weather. That was in 2006. The weather that day was projected to be in the high 90s. The heat index was projected to be over 110. We have two sophisticated private weather systems that we look at. On Tuesday, we started looking at what Friday was going to be. Looked to be in the 89 to 91 range. It's probably 92. The heat index is going to be well below 100. Now, some of the local stations, you know, yourselves included, projected that it would be higher. It was very high yesterday, 95, 96. But, you know, we checked with our vets. We checked with about 25 trainers, and everyone was good to go. We've got tons of water. We've got 17 different locations around the track. We've got hoses, buckets, ice, bottled water for the jocks. So we're pretty confident. And the truth is, we caught a little bit of a break because the wind's blowing, as you can feel that, which really helps. So I think we're in good shape.
So, and has anyone scratched because of heat that you know of?
I think there's been there's a couple of horses that came out that I know specifically were due to the heat, and you know that's fine with us. Different horses, just like human beings, react to the heat differently.
Right. Generally speaking, though, I mean, obviously there's quite a crowd here. You've had a good day. The turnout is high.
Yeah, the last year we had 23,000 in the rain. Smile on everyone's face, though. They love opening day. I'm hopeful that we can get upwards of 30,000, which would be really spectacular. And, you know, we're looking at double-digit increases in handle, which is a good forecaster for an increase in attendance. Yeah,
I mean, well, and this gets into a bigger sort of overarching issue is that, you know, NYRA's finances have always been coming under scrutiny, have always been coming up short. You start this particular season with scrutiny from the Comptroller's Office, with scrutiny from the Inspector General. Has that put a cloud on things for you?
There's been a cloud on NYRA since I got here in 2004. We're sorting things out. The Comptroller was here last year. We welcomed their people in. We've got a brand new CFO, not a brand new CFO, she's been here 2 years. But she's really cleaned up our systems, cleaned up our reporting. It's very transparent. She went to Brown. She's a Harvard MBA. And, you know, we met with the Comptroller's Office, myself and Pat Kehoe and Ella McLean, 2 times during the meet. You know, they went through the issues that we had. They generally were very positive in their comments. They're coming back. We're happy to meet with them. We'll go over some of the same things we did before, and, you know, they'll tell us how we did. So that's not an issue. The IG, you know, as Mr. Megna said in his letter, wanted to come in and look at things. We're happy to show them.
The budget director, Mr. Megna.
Yeah, Bob Megna. And so we've been cooperating with them. They wanted to see a number of different reports. And, you know, the good news is when I first got here, we just didn't have the quality of reporting and transparency that you really need to effectively present your numbers. You know, the bigger problems with the numbers have really been more external factors. We lost $17 million last year. I'm not proud of that. But I also couldn't foresee the fact that New York City OTB was going to go out of business.
Yeah, I want to talk about that in more depth. I mean, obviously, the legislature has not come up with a solution, which we all thought that they would come up with a solution. The last time you and I spoke, it was about this particular issue that they had shut down the OTB operation. And that was, what was the percentage of your handle for that?
They were, not just our handle, a percentage of our net revenue.
Net revenue, right.
They were $15 million out of $150 million, and they were $22 million contributing to purses. The good news is on that score is we've made back almost all of that $15 million, because when we had an OTB bet, we got 2.5 cents on a dollar, and an on-track bet is 10 cents on the dollar. So we really only need to recoup about a third of the OTB business to make ourselves even. Purses got hurt a little bit more because they had a bigger contribution from the OTBs.
Right.
But when they closed down, they owed us $20 million. So it's hard to lose $20 million and not lose $17 million.
Well, and also, do you fault the legislature for not coming up with a solution? They left the session and they didn't come up with a solution.
I think that, I know they tried. You know this much better than I do. They had many more important, more complicated issues. I think the unfortunate situation was the transfer of New York City OTB to the state meant that when OTB did close, all of the retirees and the employees lost their health care benefits.
Right.
That got litigated. And the court said, no, this is not the responsibility of the city. And the further problem is, as I understand it, under the state constitution, the state cannot pick up the any debts of a public benefit corporation. So those 4,000 people.
But there was legislation to address some of this.
That didn't get done, though. So there were a lot of complications with OTB. We actually have in place some laws that go back into the 90s. John Sabini, the State Racing and Wagering Board, has talked about this. They're called teletheater laws. We have the right to bring hospitality, restaurants in as OTBs. That law allowed us to do it, but it was subject to approval by New York City OTB, so that was never going to happen. There's no New York City OTB. We clearly want to talk to the governor's office about this. We're working on some business plans. Mr. Megna's expressed a lot of interest. We have a board meeting with them, a franchise oversight board meeting on the 15th.
I'm sorry, explain this, bring hospitality into, what does that mean?
That means instead of having parlors, which were not allowed to have any hospitality, which were really awful ways to showcase racing.
Right.
Instead of doing that, you'd have, for example, on 35th Street between 5th and 6th, there's a restaurant, Irish bar in the bottom floor, and an OTB, flat screens, really nice bar.
I get you.
So you can bet in a really nice environment. You can actually bring your girlfriend in there or your wife and watch a race, which you'd never do at OTB. And New York City OTB was the first OTB that was created in the country. There's far, far better models now.
Okay. So you're hoping that would move ahead in the next session?
Yeah, well, we would like to. We really need to make sure that the governor wants to work with us on that the city itself wants to work with it. It's not clear that we need legislation because of these teletheater laws that existed from the early 90s.
Let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, the governor, not personally, but writ large, the administration, you've been tussling with them in a nice way. I don't know how else to say it. Is there tension between you, and it's born of what exactly?
Well, I think there's two specific issues. And the first one is that when New York City OTB closed down, we tried very hard to get their phone business, and we were largely successful. We opened up 10,000 phone and